Thomas Aquinas' life was not just the life of a scholar, it was the life of a seeker, a man unafraid to grapple with the most profound questions of faith and reason and to forge a path that continues to illuminate the human quest for understanding. Welcome to Icons of History, where we dive deep into the past to uncover the stories of the individuals who shaped our world. From great leaders to visionaries who changed the course of humanity, here we bring you the tales of the icons who left an indelible mark on the pages of history. In the halls of medieval thought, few names tower as high as Thomas Aquinas. Revered as one of the most influential theologians and philosophers of all time, Aquinas laid the intellectual groundwork that shaped Christian theology and bridged the worlds of faith and reason. Through his prolific writings, rigorous philosophy, and dedication to his vocation, he became an enduring figure of Western thought, a saint, a doctor of the church, and a philosopher who left behind a legacy that continues to influence ethics, metaphysics, and politics today. But who was Thomas Aquinas, and how did his ideas evolve to stand at the very crossroads of reason and revelation? Born in 1225 in Roccaseca, a small castle town in the Kingdom of Sicily, Thomas Aquinas entered the world amidst great expectations. His family belonged to the lower nobility, and his parents envisioned a comfortable, prestigious life for him, a future shaped by wealth and influence. Yet Thomas was destined for something far greater than nobility could have imagined. From his earliest years, the young Thomas exhibited a profound devotion to God, coupled with a curiosity that defied societal and familial expectations. At the age of 5, Thomas was sent to study at the Benedictine monastery of Monte Cassino, a site steeped in intellectual and spiritual tradition. The Benedictine monks cultivated his budding intellect, teaching him Latin, religious doctrine, and the works of early church fathers. It was during this time that Thomas posed a question so audacious and profound that his fellow students marveled at his wisdom. What is God? This question would not only define Thomas's early life, but also become the nucleus of his philosophical and theological explorations. By the time Thomas reached his teenage years, his father intended for him to ascend to an illustrious monastic position, possibly even the role of abbot at Monte Cassino. Thomas had other plans, however, and his thirst for deeper intellectual engagement soon led to his enrollment at the University of Naples. The University of Naples was a melting pot of academic innovation, particularly within the realms of philosophy and science. There, Thomas encountered the works of Aristotle, recently rediscovered and translated into Latin, and this encounter would transform medieval thought forever. Aristotle's ideas, structure, causation, and the natural world, provided Thomas with tools to explore and explain his own faith with unprecedented rational precision. At the University of Naples, Thomas also crossed paths with the Dominican order, a group of friars dedicated to poverty, preaching, and intellectual development. Inspired by their commitment to blending the contemplative life with action, Thomas joined the order in 1204, much to his family's dismay. His decision to join the Dominicans resulted in unanticipated turbulence. Thomas's relatives attempted to force him to abandon the monastery by kidnapping him and confining him to their castle for nearly a year. Despite their efforts, ranging from persuasion to temptation, Thomas resolutely held on to his faith and desire to serve God in the Dominican tradition. Even under confinement, he poured himself into his studies, earning the nickname the Dumb Ox for his quiet, unassuming demeanor and prowess as a scholar. Eventually, his determination won out, and his family released him. Once freed, Thomas resumed his intellectual journey, studying at Cologne under Albertus Magnus, one of the most brilliant minds of the era. Under Albertus's guidance, Thomas delved deeper into the connection between philosophy and theology, reconciling Aristotelian logic with Christian doctrine, a task that would become the hallmark of his life's work. Albertus is said to have recognized Thomas's extraordinary talent, predicting that this dumb ox will one day fill the world with his bellowing. Thomas's intellectual ambitions reached their zenith in Paris, then the epicenter of European scholasticism. Here he began teaching, debating, and writing prolifically. During this time, Thomas produced some of his most enduring works, including his commentary on the sentences of Peter Lombard. He argued that reason and revelation were not adversaries, but allies in humanity's pursuit of truth. This belief placed Thomas at odds with some factions of the Church, which feared that the infusion of Aristotelian naturalism could undermine divine revelation. But Thomas remained undeterred, and his work gradually gained recognition for its profound depth and clarity. In the mid-13th century, Thomas embarked on his magnum opus, the Summa Theologica, a sprawling, systematic masterpiece designed to provide the definitive explanation of Christian doctrine. The Summa blends philosophical precision with theological insight. Within its pages, Thomas addressed the most pressing questions of existence: the nature of God, the purpose of human life, and the moral foundation of society. He developed his famous 5 ways arguments for the existence of God, reasoning from motion, causation, contingency, degrees of perfection, and the teleological nature of the world. Far from an abstract theoretical exercise, the Summa sought to ground faith within the framework of reason. Among his contributions to ethical thought, Aquinas' concept of natural law stands out. Unlike doctrines focused solely on divine commandments, natural law theory proposed that morality could be discerned through human reason by observing nature and the order of creation. In Aquinas' view, natural human inclinations towards preserving life, pursuing knowledge, fostering relationships, and promoting the common good revealed the contours of God's eternal law. This bold synthesis of theology and philosophy not only bridged Christianity and Greek thought, but also influenced the development of modern human rights and legal theory centuries later. While Thomas Aquinas gained prominence amongst scholars, his ideas were treated with suspicion in some corners. His Aristotelian approach sparked resistance from theologians who feared that reason might encroach upon divine mystery. Nevertheless, Thomas defended the compatibility of faith and reason, arguing that both were gifts from God and that reason was the pathway, not an obstacle, to understanding divine truth. Thomas's devotion to rigorous intellectual engagement was matched only by his spiritual humility. Despite his monumental achievements, he considered his work insufficient in capturing the magnitude and beauty of divine truth. A mystical experience shortly before his death in 1274 altered how he viewed his own scholarship. Legend has it that while celebrating Mass, Thomas struck into a profound silence, later telling his colleagues, "I can no longer write. Everything I have written seems to me straw compared to what I have seen." Whether this moment revealed supernatural insight or marked his inner surrender to divine mystery, it signified the profound humility that underscored his life's work. Thomas Aquinas passed away on March 7, 1274, on his way to the Second Council of Lyons, a meeting intended to bridge divisions in the Church. Though his life was cut short, his intellectual legacy endured with resounding force. A half-century later, in 1323, he was canonized as a saint, and in 1567, Pope Pius V declared him a doctor of the Church. Over the centuries, Aquinas' influence has continued to grow. His ideas shaped major theological debates during the Reformation, provided a philosophical foundation for Catholic social teaching, and inspired later thinkers such as Descartes and Kant. Today, Aquinas' principles continue to find relevance in discussions about ethics, human rights, artificial intelligence, and ecological stewardship, demonstrating the lasting impact of his thought. Yet, his ultimate contribution transcends scholarship. Aquinas demonstrated that faith and intellect need not contradict each other, reminding us that the search for God can be undertaken in both devotion and the rigor of logic. In the modern world, his principles have found renewed relevance in discussions about ethics, human rights, artificial intelligence, and even ecological stewardship. Today, St. Thomas Aquinas is regarded as the patron saint of students, academics, and all seeking wisdom. Yet, his ultimate contribution transcends scholarship. Aquinas demonstrated that faith and intellect need not contradict each other, that the search for God can be undertaken not only in prayer and devotion, but also in the rigor of logic and the questioning of the human mind. He reminds us that the mysteries of existence invite exploration, not fear, and that every question posed in earnest holds the potential to bring us closer to truth. In the quiet chapel where Aquinas prayed, in the lively debate halls where he taught, and in the pages of his unparalleled texts, one finds the echoes of a mind and spirit dedicated wholly to God. Thomas Aquinas' life was not just the life of a scholar, it was the life of a seeker, a man unafraid to grapple with the most profound questions of faith and reason, and to forge a path that continues to illuminate the human quest for understanding. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time with icons of history. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. See you next time as we explore more icons who made history.